Privileged to host such a distinguished gathering of professionals who play a critical role in safeguarding the resilience and stability of our financial ecosystem. This morning marked a significant milestone in the successful launch of the revised Cyber and Information Security Directive, that's the SID. The directive reflects our collective commitment to strengthening cybersecurity governance, enhancing operational resilience, and responding proactively to the evolving threat landscape. Your presence here today demonstrates the shared responsibility we all bear in ensuring a secure and trusted financial sector. As CISOs and security leaders, you remain at the forefront of defending your institutions against increasingly sophisticated cyber threats. Your leadership, expertise, and dedication are essential in translating regulatory expectations into practical, effective security controls within your respective organizations. This forum has been carefully designed to provide clarity, guidance, and engagement on the newly launched directive. The SID team will, in the course of the session, take you through the key provisions in the directive, the underlying rationale, and the expectations for implementation. We encourage you to actively participate, ask questions, and share insights, as this will enrich the discussions and promote a more consistent and collaborative approach across the industry. Let me also take this opportunity to express our appreciation for your continued cooperation and commitment to strengthening cybersecurity within the financial sector. Together, we can build a more resilient and secure digital financial environment that inspires trust and confidence. As you engage in today's sessions, I encourage you to take full advantage of the opportunities to network, exchange ideas, and learn from one another. We hope that you will find the discussions both insightful and practical. Once again, you are most welcome. I wish you a productive forum, a pleasant stay, and enjoyable event. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pitano. Please put your hands together for him one more time.
Under tight deadlines, the team remains steadfast. Today, we stand here deeply grateful to our governors for your leadership and guidance, to the Director of Information Security and Supporting Departments for your direction and support, to the CISD committee members for your diligence and resilience, to our stakeholders for your invaluable insights and engagement, and to all Bank of Ghana staff who contributed in diverse ways. Your effort has not gone unnoticed. Above all, we give thanks to God for his guidance, strength, and grace throughout this journey. Without him, this day would not have been possible. This directive is not just a document, it is a testament to collaboration, sacrifice, and shared purpose.
I'm now going to call on Mr. Charles Osei-Bonsu, right? Or you want us to do the photograph first? Okay, all right. So the team that drafted this whole directive, is that the CISO team? That's different from the CISO team. Okay. So the team at the Bank of Ghana that put together this whole cyber and information security directive. Please, if you're here, let me see you by hand. Would you kindly come forward so we can see you and acknowledge you? Briefly, please. Please put your hands together for them. Please put your hands together for them. They have done a yeoman's job. It's a big, big team. Big team. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for them one more time. Great, 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 great. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We will call you back so you can join us in the photograph taking. Thank you. Please take your seats right now. Thank you very much. I'd now like to call on Mr. Charles Osei-Bonsu to take us through an overview and key highlights in the directive. Please put your hands together for him as well.
Thank you very much. He probably give thanks to all of us who have come far with this directive, as he put it. But there are a couple of guys sitting behind here whose punches, as the narrative was saying there, sometimes the argument that comes up in a single line of sentence as we don't agree or disagree, or how it's going to affect the industry, has brought us this far. So please help me give a round of applause to those guys here from the CISOs guys who have done a yeoman's work behind the scene to bring us to this level of it. Thank you, guys. You've done a good work. We appreciate that. And for an overview of the directive, which I have here, I would have loved to probably take my time and put you through exactly what those ones are, but time will not permit us to do. So I've selected a few news points that we've highlighted them for you to know that, yes, indeed, we tried as much as possible to make sure that our resiliency when it comes to cybersecurity is improved. There are certain areas where hitherto it was not part of the original document. And we tried as much as possible to bring everything on board for us to cover the areas which was mixed in the previous ones. One major area is what the governor mentioned in the morning, the proportionality. We realized that most of our institutions, in terms of size, complexity, and that of the risks they carry, is not the same across board. So we look at the institution and the kind of risks that is inherited in it and how best we can bring them on board. So we created what we call proportionality, and a portion with which it's able to satisfy your risks that is inherent in your operations. There's another portion that we also brought into it as a MSSP. We realized that most of the institutions are not able to put up SOCs on their own. They cannot set up proper cybersecurity department. So we expect that those institutions can subscribe to managed information security service providers to help them regulate and manage their cybersecurity issues. We also make sure that we cover the areas what we call the supply chain. Hitherto, in the old ones, we didn't have anything like a supply chain looking at the risks that it bears on our operations as a financial institution. So we also look at the supply chain area to ensure that, yes, that area is also covered. And then the new kid on the block, the AI and that of the artificial intelligence and the machine learning bit of it. Though in the morning, Plus mentioned, as the governor mentioned, about quantum computing. On that level, we realize that probably we may get there one day. So it has a forward-looking. You have a bit of it in the directive, but we ensure that, yes, there are controls that is make sure that you put in place to ensure that those who adopt AI and machine learning are able to take all control measures to mitigate the risks that is inherent in adopting AI. Again, there's one key areas in an old directive which was also a bit of a border to our CISOs who are here. That is the DCIS, Director of Cyber Information Security. This brought into conflict who is to take decisions. CISOs are the guys who knows the groundwork. They have the knowledge on how the things are happening on the ground. But when it comes to the final decision, they are pushed under the carpet. And therefore, we decided to scrap the DCIS and brought up the CISO, elevate them to senior management level. And on that side, we have defined what we mean by senior management level, where they will be able to make decisions and take proper measures to make sure that their voices are heard at the top level. The last one on the new directive is cloud computing. As we migrate from on-prem and moving our systems, solutions, and data into the cloud, this area also comes with its own inherent risks. But how do you mitigate that one? We also make sure that that section is in a directive to ensure that whoever adopts cloud computing can go into the directive, have mitigation guidelines to help them address any risks that may probably come out when you go to the cloud. So, in a nutshell, this is the new areas that we tried as much as possible to bring on board in the new directive. I know you have more questions, but you saw a whole team here who came up with all these ideas. I'm only here to propagate the document for you to understand a bit of it. So if you have any questions for us, which is going to come up, we are here. We call whoever will be able to answer. Like I said, I'm not the only person who can answer every question here. The team will answer you and make sure that you have the best understanding of the new directive. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Don't mind him. He will answer all the questions. You answer all the questions.
Yeah, I will.
Okay, so time now for questions and answers. I'll need an additional microphone to be great. So if you've got a question, just put up your hand. I will acknowledge you. You tell us your name and which institution you represent, and then you go ahead with your question. Great. So we've got the first person.
All right, thank you very much, and good afternoon to everyone. My name is Benjamin from Absa Bank. I think this is an awesome development following the previous directive that you released. My question is more around compliance. When it comes to compliance to these requirements, as we've stated, in the past, we've seen and we've had various banters when it comes to what the intent of the directive is, and then what the business or what we, the stakeholders, understand it to mean, whether it's risk-averse or it's risk-based or whether it's black and white, to blatantly put it. My ask is, when it comes to auditing of this standard or this directive, is it going to be from the BSD or is it going to be from the team that actually put this piece together? The reason why I ask is to avoid the previous times where we've had challenges with the true intent, I'll use that casually, the true intent of what the directive is seeking to do, and what we, from the implementers' perspective, what we think the explanation to those specific controls that you have in this directive. So to blatantly put it, how is this going to be audited? Or who is going to audit us on this?
All right, thank you. That's a question from APSA. Did I get that right? APSA? Yes. Do you want us to take all the questions and then we'll get responses later, or a question response? How do you want it? We'll take 3 questions. Okay, so 2 additional questions and then we'll come for responses. Any other hands up? Oh, you all understand it. It's very simple, eh? Okay, looks like it's very simple. They all understand it. So let's answer the first question from APSA. I can pass my microphone over to you.
Thank you. The regulations still sit with the supervisory department, i.e. the BSD, the financial stabilities, and then the rest of all the supervisory department we have within Bank of Ghana. We at the Information Security Office, or the drafters of those directives, it's only policy makers. Those are the things who are implementers of that directive. When it comes to the argument of they probably will be seeking an interpretation where it becomes more difficult for them from those who drafted the directive, but solely they are responsible for ensuring that they enforce the directive.
So we have picked feedback from the industry on the areas you want to improve in terms of being audited on the directive. So going forward, what we have agreed is that we would bring the supervisory departments on board. They would be with us. They'll visit the FICSOC. We'll do the planning with them. So that when they come on site to do the supervision, it's more detailed, and it's not like a pure audit, because these directives are supposed to help us improve upon the entire financial industry. It's not a punishment, So internally, we are going to collaborate more to ensure that the supervision going forward, it's more detailed, and it's not towards punishment or more punitive than collaborative, and ensuring that the entire sector grows. Thank you.
Any further questions, or you want us to move on? No more questions. Interesting. Charles, looks like your work is done.
Probably. And it's maybe because they haven't had a feel of reading the document as yet. So we give them that benefit of the doubt. Maybe if they go back and read it, I'm sure they will still come back with more questions for us to help them understand why it is. So probably we give them that. All right.
All right, so please pass for the microphone to him. Let's get your name and which institution you represent.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Joseph Kokwe. I represent Insano FinTech. I work with the CISO's office. And I think for me, my question, especially with regards to compliance, from what I've observed within the space, is with regards to the BOG, are there going to be any supporting document or guidance toolkit, right, for the various kinds of institutions? We have, since you are talking about a tiered approach. And I imagine that the approach towards compliance in a tier 1 or whatever tier structure you use is different from one that is in a different category or tier. So these toolkits, these maybe audit framework, this is what you should use within this environment. Are these additional documents going to be added, right, as some kind of guidance framework for those implementing, or this will be left to these institutions to figure out themselves using the directives as their sole guide? That's basically my question.
Thank you. The directive is granular, let me put it that way. So, though at a certain point in time, we may come out with some of the additional documentation to guide in terms of, that's what my boss says about, we will carry them along, make sure that they are up to speed when it comes to applying the directive. But the content, if you have time to read it, it's more detailed and granular, which will be able to guide them as what they should do when they get to the, making sure that the institution comply with whatever is enshrined in the directive.
Thank you. Any further questions? Yes.
Okay, my name is Sananu Dacha. I'm with First Atlantic Bank. I want to find out, when does this directive take effect, especially with regards to the new additions that have been brought on board? Thank you.
All right, Sananu, thank you very much. I don't know if there's any other question before we get responses. Any other questions?
Okay, I'm here. My name is Bright Oyene with GCB Bank. Mine is tied to Senanu's question. I'm looking at the implementation and timelines for the new CISD. Are there going to be a phase implementation?
You are quite inaudible. Could you just... Yeah.
Hello? Is it okay now? Okay, mine is tied to Senanu's question as well. Looking at the implementation and timelines for enforcement, are we going to have a phase implementation? Looking at the 2018 directive, it looks like, just like my colleague said, we didn't hear much about the enforcement or the implementation. So what are we to expect?
Okay, thank you. Is there a final question? So we get 3 questions in all. Okay, we'll take responses.
My boss will take these questions, right? So.
Okay, so I'll take the second one. To explain to you, the procedure in directives is that when we have issued a directive, BSD is going to send you a long communication explaining the implementation modalities for the directive. So you are going to receive an official communication. But I want to take this opportunity to elaborate a little bit on the key areas that we have touched on, right? So that if you have some questions, I want the questions to come. We issued the exposure draft. The directive, the final directive, is not too far from the exposure draft, so you should be able to ask questions. But then, the biggest one that I think would excite all of you is the CISO role that we have moved. We have instructed in the directive that all CISO roles should be managerial level, right? Managerial level role. So it means a number of things. If you are a CISO and you are not a managerial material, then they have to train you. Your bank would need to probably find ways to let you be at that level. We are going to enforce that very much. I mean, we are not going to joke with that, because cybersecurity, from the experience we've had with you, is discussed at too much a lower level. It's not getting the tone we want at the top. So we have removed the DCIS position, and then we have said that instead of the DCIS, elevate the CISO to come up, right? Another area that we would focus our supervision on would be the AI and machine learning. There is a long requirement in the directive regarding AI. Everybody is adopting AI. I mean, here, there, anyhow. We don't have a coordinated measures in place currently to guide you in your adoption of AI. It's a worrying area for us. So we've provided some guidelines. And for you to understand, the AI area is evolving. Currently, if someone tells you that they know everything about what AI would be in the next 2 years, that would be a lie. So it's some guidelines for you now. What we are going to do is we are going to keep eyes on it, and as it evolves, we are going to issue addendums and then further directions to you. In the cloud computing area, it's a tough one because we are looking at the sovereignty directives or acts and laws of Ghana, which requires that no Ghanaian entity should save their database or their data outside the country. Everybody is adopting cloud. We are all using 365 happily, and you are adding Copilot and all your work is going on smoothly, but where is your data sitting? Some people are implementing hybrid model where the database is sitting in-house and then the front end is sitting on the cloud. But how much is sitting on the cloud? Does it comply with the directives? Does it comply with the Data Protection Act? Does it comply with the Cyber Security Act 2020? We have provided a lot of guidelines in that area as well. It's not an easy one, the cloud one, I'll tell you the truth. But we've started discussions with the internal supervisory departments on how we are going to approach this. Because cloud has, we cannot actually do without the cloud. But we need to do it in the spirit of complying with the national acts and then the directive, the requirements of the directive. Proportionality is another area which I think we have listened to you and we have done exactly what you requested for. We have a lot of focus in the area of proportionality in the directive. We have broken down in a table, in a very elaborate table, the proportionality requirements. So now, if you are a primary bank, right, or you are a microfinance institution or a rural bank, you cannot say that this directive is too elaborate for me or the directive is too small for me. No. Example, when it comes to testing, a primary bank is supposed to conduct their technical vulnerability assessments or VAPT at various, intervals. And then for smaller institutions, we have highlighted how you are going to do it. So whether you are, and this is just an example, it cuts across all the components of the directive. So whether you are a microfinance institution or you are a primary bank, the directive will serve your purpose. Board level accountability. We have moved or we have deepened the responsibility of the board on the directive, the oversight. Because mind you, now the CISO is sitting at a level where they can communicate with the board, either directly or through less long channels, So depending on how it's implemented, the CISO might be communicating directly with the board or the chief executive. We have removed the intermediaries. Right? So the board, we expect the board to be strong. And there is a requirement that there must be at least one board member who possesses technical capabilities. This would involve the CISO taking the role of building the capacity for that person on the board. either internally or through external training and development, right? Another tone that is coming. I'm saying all this because I want you to ask questions. This is a very good forum. We have the supervisory department here, so we can give you some feedback. One thing, I'm going to read from the governor's speech in the morning, a little bit. The governor told us in the morning that, I'm reading a section in his speech called Sustaining Our Collective Defense. It says that as the sector, to ensure sustainability and continuous upgrade and 24/7 operational effectiveness of this shared service, we must move towards a model of shared responsibility. Just as we all contribute to the security of our fiscal communities, we must contribute to the security of our digital financial community. Therefore, listen to this very well. It's very coded, but it has a message. I want to decode it for you. Therefore, the Bank of Ghana is developing a sustainable shared service model for FICSOC. We are committed to ensuring this model is transparent, fair, and provides clear value. It will ensure that the nerve center of our industry's cyber defense remains cutting edge, well-staffed, and capable of protecting us all against threats of tomorrow. So, a word to the wise, who understand this one? It's still coded? Okay, it means that we are looking to expand the ownership. We want you to to participate more in the directive, in the FICSOC. We need to continually upgrade the FICSOC. Running the FICSOC costs quite a lot. We have a forensic lab that is coming on board very soon. We are not saying that pay for the FICSOC now, but we are looking at a model that is going to be shared responsibility with the industry. And that would be discussed, and we would have consultations on it. So these are some areas you should expect when you get a directive. I know you'll be excited about the CISO role. The same way as you are excited about the CISO role, please, with the same spirit, take the other components of the directive and please, 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 make sure you implement them. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Klue. Yeah, please sit down. Thank you. Any more questions, please? Yes, sir. Please pass the microphone over to the gentleman in the glasses. Kindly introduce yourself. Tell us which institution you represent.
So the name is Kojo Nguyen from Omnibisic. My question has to do with the aligning the new directive with the outsourcing directive. I think at the time there were some gray areas that were not fully clarified. To what extent is it aligned? That's one. And then also, if you look at the cloud discussion, I think there are some concerns around providing some kind of pre-approvals, making the process of adoption easier and kind of straightforward. Because there are a lot of gray areas there. So if you can speak to that, thank you.
Yes, thank you. Any further questions? Yes.
Thank you. My question is based. Okay, there are two questions. The first one is on the tiered approach towards general compliance. So what I want to understand is with regards to the various, because he mentioned there will be some categories that are used to determine the tiers, right? Even risk assessment and all of that. Who mandates or who declares an institution under which tier? Is it going to be the BOG? Or is it going to be the institutions themselves that do the assessment based on the appendix or whatever table that they fall under and put themselves in there? I just want to know the determination, where it comes from. And so that's the first one. The second one was with regards to, I think it's tied to the first question, which is there a correlation between the tier system or the proportionality system and the outsourcing? That is, provided you fall in this category, then definitely you have to outsource, because for this and this and this reason, we don't think that you have the capability to handle this and this by yourself. So I just wanted to get that clarity from my side. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Any further questions? Yes, sir.
Okay. I didn't want to ask a question, but I think I have to ask. So I'm aware that the directive says that the CISO shall be reporting to the CEO or the MD. In addition, it says the CISO shall have unfettered access to the board. That statement, if it wasn't the directive, would there be a change? Would there be any impact? What does that mean? How will BSD come and see the implementation of that statement?
No, what do you say finally? You said if it were
not in the directive, captured in the directive, would there be any difference? What's the difference in adding a CISO who have unfettered access to the board? Because if the CISO is reporting to the CEO, indirectly, you could have access to the board. What was the rationale behind that statement? I'm saying that because I was trying to say that, for example, in certain organizational diagram, you see up charts, you see maybe the REX department having at a dotted line reporting to the board. Is that what they mean by CISO have unfettered access to the board? You should see that information security, as I mentioned, the directive will now have a dotted line reporting to the board, as well as a straight line report to the MD. Is that what it means?
You've got a lot of clarification today.
So I'll take that one. If you remember, in the earlier directive in 2018, we assume that, or we know from our research that most of the CISOs, right, are not at a good level where they interact with the board directly. So we introduced a role called Director of Cyber and Information Security, DCIS. Why did we introduce the DCIS? We introduced the DCIS because we want someone who is at the top already, who interacts with the chief executive and the board already, who can articulate the issues of cyber and information security at the board level. It has been 7 years since we introduced the first directive. Our new research shows that the CISO right now is matured. It's at a level that when they put him in the board to have interactions with, they will not be found wanting. The CISO is at a level that they can hold a management level role. They can play a management level role. So we are saying that remove the DCIS and then elevate the CISO. The question cannot be answered directly. It depends on each institution, how your structure is and where they will put the CISO. So whether you interact directly with the board or not, it depends on your organizational structure. We have made it clear. There is no more DCIS. The CISO has to be elevated. And the CISO need to have a very short channel to the board, not a long channel through DCIS, through IT managers. Some of you used to report to IT managers. We have done all that. So we can't say how the dotted lines will be. It will depend on your individual organizational structures. Thank you.
I don't know whether the question about when this will take effect has been answered. It has been answered. Okay. You want to take the other questions?
The question on outsourcing. If you look at the new introduction, especially the MSSP, it shows, and per what my boss and then governor also said in the morning, where your data sits. If you are source that of the, let's say, your database, we are only interested in making sure that, yes, that data is protected. But then again, it comes with the law, the data sovereignty. There's a Data Protection Act allow us, as an institution, as a bank, to put those data out there on a cloud, and who have access to it. These are the questions that you need to align with the direct, the outsourcing before you try to outsource any of those cybersecurity issues with any company that you want to engage in. So you make sure that, yes, it's in line with the law, first and foremost. And then you decide which data and how it's being protected. If it's in line with it, then you probably be complying and synchronize with that of the outsourcing policy. I don't remember, but there's one more question that the ABSA man asked. If you can repeat that one. I don't have a pen here to write it down, so I made after. No, the gentleman asked two questions. One was on outsourcing, and there's another one on the...
Okay, so just to give a bit of context, these questions arise because I think there's an issue of interpretation which has worried us over the time. It's straightforward, but then when it comes to supervision, they have their own understanding of how it should be, and then it's not open for discussion. So most of the questions, that to me, that's really the underlining observation. And so, but to the second question, so it got to do with the cloud. I think there was cloud services and cloud computing. And so if you just oppose it with outsourcing and the likes, so there's a bit of gray area around what is allowed and what is not allowed. And so to what extent is that kind of resolve addressed in the new directive? I mean, I don't have the benefit of the final version.
No problem. If probably understand your question perfectly, where do you sit the cloud computing as enshrined in the directive vis-a-vis that of the outsourcing policy? Like I said, it's earlier on, the main bone of contention here is data sovereignty. How are we going to protect those data that belongs to you and I? The Data Protection Act put it as a data subjects, that is you and I, our personal data. If you want to outsource those information to a third party, then it's absolutely no. They don't allow us to put a personal data in a cloud. Again, even if you have to do it and the needs allowing you, are you conforming what they term it as a minimality? Is the data subject aware of what you are trying to do? Do you inform your customers that I'm going to put your data in a Google Cloud? We have to vary all these loopholes and then sit it with that of the outsourcing policy and make sure that we align with that of the law before we go to the cloud. But again, even the Minister of Information mentioned this morning, when it comes to transactional data, the Minister of Communication, thank you. When it comes to financial data, he stressed on it this morning that it's also no. Then it comes where do you outsource with regards to our operations? Maybe we go at a SaaS, software as a service. Because when it comes to the infrastructure as a service, you probably will have a database sitting somewhere. You have no control over it. And that's where you make sure that when it comes to cloud computing and outsourcing, make sure that you go by the law.
Thank you. You want to come again?
Question wasn't.
Okay, so what was your first question?
Right. But I appreciate the answer to my second question. My first question was in regards to the tiered approach. Who determines, is it the BOG that's going to say that, look, because of X, Y, Z factors, you are in tier 2? Because see, if that responsibility shifts onto the regulated institution, at a point in time, there can be gaming of the system because there are financial implications for whatever tier you find yourself in. Because if I'm able to say that because you say you are using my size of operations to say I'm in this risk category, then I'll downsize here to avoid certain costs and to avoid certain things I'm doing. That's why I want to understand who determines the tier you fall under. Is it coming from the BOG, or it is a shared thing between the BOG and then those who are, regulated? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So I want my team to show the that section in the directive. However, to answer you, that question is very clear in the directive, which tier an institution fall into. The only challenge with that one is that, with the new minimum capital requirement for the other financial institutions, which is 50 million and 100 million Ghana cedis. The challenge would be some institutions who are in lower tiers would move to higher tiers because if there are mergers, right, institutions would become bigger. But when you look at the directive, you will not have doubt where you fall into. The directive is very clear and straight. If they are able to show it, we can throw more light on it. But to answer you, the directive answers that question straightforward. It's not complicated. It's not unequivocal in the directive. You would know straight away where you fall. We took a lot of time to do that because of previous issues we have had. There is no question about it when you look at the directive. Thank you.
All right. Are we going to have a view of that? Who's working on it? Okay, so let's take further questions while we wait to see that video. Any more questions?
Good afternoon. My name is Biodun from Zenith Bank. I want to be practical now. Let's assume that as a financial institution in Ghana, I have a parent company outside Ghana that has a private cloud. And because of cost, I want to share or I want to do co-hosting of my data in their own private cloud. Is it allowed?
Yes, it's allowed with the restrictions. And thanks for bringing this up. Co-hosting is also one of the new areas we looked at. And it's making sure that there are certain rules or policies or contractual agreements set out clearly as who will be responsible for what. So that when you go to you start to do the co-hosting yourself and your data is sitting with SA Bank of Ghana data center, there's clear rules and responsibilities burden on us to make sure that if anything untoward happen, your data will be intact. Or you'll be what we call the IoT, it's a return to operation, right? IOTO. Once everything is in, how long will it take for you to be able to get your data or get your operational back on track? So those are the rules that needs to be set out clearly for whoever is responsible for my data sitting in my data center or your data center, to make sure that, and all this one is clearly stated in the directive for you to make sure that you get the benefit of co-hosting.
All right, Mr. Charles Osei-Bonsu and team, I think you've done pretty well. We do not have any further questions, do we? I think we'll move straight to the next item, which has to do with compliance, expectations, and supervisory approach, and that's going to be taken by the supervision department. That's a BSD and Offset. Do we have them here? Do we have them here?
Oscar.
Please welcome them with a round of applause.
All right, good afternoon. My name is William Esakoli from Other Financial Institutions Supervision Department. What I'll highlight on is the implication of this directive on the institutions we supervise. For our supervision department, which is Office, we supervise the rural and community banks, microfinance institutions, foreign exchange bureaus. However, we've also published microfinance sector reform guideline, which seeks to bring on board credit unions, finance houses, savings and loans as well. And what this MSR guideline seeks to do is going to equip institutions to increase their capital, which Mr. Klu spoke about. So for the microfinance banks, which is a new entity, which is also clearly identified in this section of the document, which is the proportionality section, we require these institutions to have 50 million capital. That is for existing institutions. And for community banks, which now is the rural and community banks, they will now transform to community banks. Currently, their capital is 2 million, so they're going to increase it to 5 million. Now, we are all aware that complying with this directive requires institutions to have some form of financial capacity. So it's timely for us because this directive has been launched in parallel with the microfinance sector reform, which is empowering institutions or putting institutions at a level where they will be more solvent or they will have the financial capacity to comply with some of these controls. So even though we have the tiered approach or we have the groups, for our institutions, once your operations bothers or exposes you to some level of risks, then you have to comply with that control. So we are telling our institutions, or we are telling, no matter how small you are, if you've decided to, or you've been given approval to go into, let's say, mobile banking or to bring a product onto the market that bothers around or introduces some level of risks to your operations, then you have to comply with the control around that operation. So even though maybe you may be in, let's say, tier 3, and you've decided to have a product, let's say, go into mobile banking, then all the controls around mobile banking will apply to you. So that is what we are saying. So even though we have the tiered approach, anytime you are more exposed to a certain level of risks, we require that you comply with the controls around those operations. So for us, the timing is good, and we have up until December 2026 to fully comply with the Microfinance Sector Reform Directive. So by December 2026, we believe that the institution will be more capitalized to put in place measures to comply with this directive. So it's a case-by-case basis where some institutions feel or think or have proved that these controls puts more stress on their operations. Our doors are open. We'll engage with you, and we'll see if there are alternative controls that you can put in place. And of course, in this section also, we have alternative controls for our institutions as well. So this new directive, I think, is good, and it will address all cyber risks or any risks that bothers around the operations that our institutions are involved in. Thank you.
Thank you. You would have to take questions, so not too fast. Any questions for him? So he is from Offset, right? Any questions, please? So this has to do with the compliance expectations and supervisory approach. Any questions? Yes, sir.
Okay. He mentioned that the supervised entities, I think that's a microfinance, they have up to 2026. So what of the tier ones, if there's any gap, what's the roadmap?
All right, so the December 2026 deadline has got to do with the microfinance sector reform. So the directive clearly states that institutions that will be affected by the microfinance sector reform have up until December 2026 to comply. And these institutions include the savings and loans, the finance houses, the microfinance companies, microcredit companies, FNGOs, credit unions, and then we have another group of institutions which we call the last mile providers, which includes the SUSU, the micro, or let's say the money lending enterprises, or more or less like the institutions that are really small, that is enterprise institutions. So these institutions, so for tier one, that is the banks. I think Mr. Klu addressed the timelines already. So these, so the MSR affects these institutions which I just listed. Yeah.
Yes, sir. There's also a hand up there.
Please, I'm not sure if I got the timeline.
Is that Senanu?
This is Senanu, please. I'm not sure if I got the timeline for the implementation timeline for this new directive. I'm not sure if I got that clearly. I don't know if you can explain that or give us if there is any tentative timeline we should be working towards. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So I'm not addressing the timeline for this directive. That is not what I'm addressing. Okay, so what I'm addressing is institutions that are affected by the microfinance sector reform. And I'm saying that I think the time is good for us because we have given institutions that are affected by the reform up until December 2026 to comply. Now, when they comply, these institutions will have or will be positioned with enough capital to comply or to put in place some of these controls or some of these measures, okay? Currently, some of these institutions, as they say, they will tell you that we don't have money to employ us, so we don't have money to deploy state-of-the-art firewall and so, you understand? So the directive, or let's say the microfinance sector reform, will position our institutions to have that financial muscle to comply with some of these controls. And they have up until December 2026. So by then, when we do an assessment, we know that our institutions can then comply with this institution. But it's something that is ongoing. Yeah. I hope, yeah, okay. So for the tier 1 institutions, as to the timelines they have to comply, that I can't speak to. I'm sure Mr. Klu will address that. Yeah, for this directive, for the banks.
So I addressed the timelines earlier on. I made mention that the timelines is usually by the mode of our operations will be communicated through an official letter to you probably by next week. So BSD is the responsible department to do that. We have had agreement with them. However, hold on till next week. You receive official communication on this. Thank you.
Any further questions?
Thank you, sir.
So, Mr. Klu, the respective banks, by what time do they have to upgrade the individual CISO members into managers if they are currently not? Do they have a timeline to that as well?
Yes. All of that, what we do by our mode of operation is that when we issue a directive, we send an official, communication to the institutions who are supposed to comply, the constituents. So we are working, probably very soon, by next week or so, they will receive the official communication. Whatever I say here, it won't carry much because the banks are going to work with official communication. So rest assured, in the next week or two, you are going to receive that official notification. Because you can't go back and tell your boss that, wow, Bank of Ghana say implement by the end of this month, so make me, elevate me. You can't do that. So wait for the official communication. Thank you.
All right. Any further questions? Yes, sir.
Okay, so it's no secret that most banks or gathered here are using AI in their operation, directly or indirectly. A concern was raised during the presentation. So is there somewhere in this directive that give us some guideline or where to start from? Because I'm not too sure whether there's something in this directive on that.
As in limitations to the use of AI or
No,
not to use AI?
Guidelines.
Okay.
Again, when we send you official notification, it's going to identify the new areas in the directive. So we are going to give you communication on the timeline for using an MSSP, the timeline for elevating the CISOs, the timeline for adopting the cloud policy. So there will be various timelines for each of the major components of the directive. So all is going to come to you through an official communication. Thank you.
So anything on timelines will come to you through official communication. So no more questions on timelines. Any further questions? Oh, you want us to wrap up, eh? You are tired. Any further questions? Okay, maybe you're still thinking. So while you think about any further questions, Mr. Klu, do you want to do your closing remarks before we take the photographs, or we should take the photographs and then after? Okay. So ladies and gentlemen, join me welcome the acting head of ISO, Mr. Daniel S. Klu. Please put your hands together for him.
Thank you very much. I'm wondering why you didn't have loads of questions to come on board with, because you've had a directive for a while now. The draft exposure, usually the final maybe 20, 30% or 10% shift from the draft exposure. So the fact that you don't have too much questions, it's all right. But what I want to say is that this directive actually addresses a lot of the things that you requested for us to look at. We have listened to you. You can attest the engagement we had with you, with the various groupings in the entire financial industry. We have had engagement with the Ghana Association of Bankers in detail. We have done this directive for you to make the CISO work easy. One of the key items in the directive is for the CISO role not to be an individual role, but it should be a department, right? So a team must, not may, a team must be built for the CISO to have, whether a department or an office or unit, again, we cannot determine. It depends on the structure of your organizational, how you organize yourselves in your various institutions. But definitely, the CISO role is not going to be a one-man sitting there. And again, it depends on your tier. All right. So when you have the directive, I would love you to take a very good time, study the directive. Don't work on assumptions, please. Study the directive. Use it as a Bible. Push for the things in the directive that brings cybersecurity as an important component of your institution. There is no one size fits all. In some institutions, your organization is such that you have the chief executive and you have departments. In some institutions, you have chief executive, you have regional groupings before you have departments. So we cannot say one size fits all. But you, the CISO, is in a very good position to make a case for the things in the directive to be implemented in the best and optimal manner. We have given the tone. The tone is that the CISO role should be elevated. How it's elevated, it depends on how you have done your work well over the years, how important you have projected the CISO role, how important you have projected Cyber Information Security Directive, how you have created an impact in the organization, and how you have been received over the years. We are not going to be light on this one when we are doing our supervision. We are going to push it. The directive comes with so many good additions. If you are a CISO and you are having difficulty implementing the directive, you know exactly what to do. You have relationship managers, you have channels, official channels of communication. And we hope that by the time you have tried to implement this directive, the cyber and information security in the entire industry would be elevated to the as important as economic issues or treasury issues in your various institutions. So I wish you all the best. A copy of the directive probably by the next hour or two would be on the website. A soft copy would be on the website. I know the team is working on it now. And feel free, be very, confident in implementing the requirements of the directive. The directive states clearly the referencing to various laws and regulations. So feel confident. Apply the directive, and let's all strengthen the cyber and information security components in the entire industry. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Klue, who is the head of ISO here at the Bank of Ghana. Ladies and gentlemen, join me welcome Louisa Boachi-Yadom to do the vote of thanks. Louisa, are you here? Louisa, are you here? Hey, she's run away. Okay, Emmanuel, Ajwa will do it. Oh, where's Ajwa? Okay, please put your hands together for Ajwa. She's coming to bail out Louisa. Oh, you can do it better for her. Please put your hands together for her.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. So on behalf of Bank of Ghana, we are so grateful to all of you for coming. for gracing us with your presence. We hope that when we organize such events in the future, you would do us well to come join us and again grace us with your presence. So to all the organizers, all those behind the scenes who made this program a success, we are so grateful to you. Thank you so much for your hard work. And thank you once again for coming. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ajua, for the vote of thanks. So we're going to take group photographs. Let me invite the 3 big men here, actually 4 big men here, to come forward. They'll take their photographs. And our guests, who are the CISOs, and they'll also be joined by the drafters of the directive, and all other special invited people can also join us here. All right, CISOs, you can also join them. CISOs, please join them. And the drafters of the Cyber Information Security Directive, please join us also. Yeah, the drafters, we're waiting for you. And then they'll be followed by the CIOs. Say cheese. All right, thank you. Now let's welcome the CIOs. CIOs, the final batch of photograph takers. All right, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. So that's how we wrap up the program for today. Mr. Chloe, giving them lunch? There's lunch for them. Okay. So there's also lunch specially packaged for you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.